In this video, I will walk you through the 3 most commonly used soldering iron tips in board level repair. Each tip has a different purpose, and choosing the right one will make your work faster, cleaner, and much safer for the board. The first one is the curved or bent tip. This one is extremely useful for tricky angles and hard to reach spots. The curved shape allows you to apply heat from the side, which helps when components are close together or when you need to lift a pin without touching nearby parts. It's also great for cleaning pads and doing controlled drag soldering. The second one is the fine point tip. This tip is designed for precision work, especially for small point to do jumper wire connection. It's ideal for tiny pads, small components, and situations where you need to control heat very carefully. The last one is the knife tip. This is the most versatile tip for everyday repair. It has a wide, flat surface that transfers heat efficiently, making it perfect for dragging solder, removing old solder, and working on medium-sized pads. If you only use one tip for most jobs, this is usually the one. In this video, I'll demonstrate how each tip performs in real repair situations, so you can clearly see the differences in heat transfer, control, and efficiency. By the end of this tutorial, you'll know exactly which tip to choose for each type of job, and how to use them to get clean, professional results. If you find this helpful and want more in-depth repair tutorials, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what topics you want next. Now, we'll start by removing a chip from this motherboard so we can use it for today's demonstration and testing. Let's start by adding some white flux to the pads. Now we'll test the first tip, the bent tip. We'll start by using low temperature solder wire to drag solder across the pads and replace the original high temperature solder. The main purpose of this step is to remove the high temp solder and convert it into low temp solder, so the pads will be much easier to clean later. As you can see, the solder is being cleaned very evenly. That's because the bend tip allows us to use the entire solder wettable surface of the tip to make full contact while dragging. The larger contact area helps pull the old solder off more consistently, and it doesn't catch or stick, so the finish ends up much smoother and more uniform. This also gives us better heat distribution across the pads, which reduces the chance of overheating any single point. Overall, the bent tip is very stable and predictable for this kind of low-temp solder replacement. Alright, let's clean the pads with some flux cleaner so we can take a closer look at the results. And as we can see, the result is very good. The pads are already clean and even, and in most cases you could install a pre-tinned new chip without even using wick. Because the surface is so uniform, the new solder will flow smoothly and the chip will sit perfectly flat. Now let's test the bent tip again, this time on the small capacitors and resistors around the chip area. As we can see, the small capacitors heat up very quickly. With the bent tip, we can remove them without using a hot air gun, just by adding a bit of low temperature solder to assist the process. This makes the capacitor lift off easily while keeping the surrounding components safe from excessive heat. Now let's add a bit of flux and get ready to place the component back onto the pads. And as you can see, the small capacitor can be placed back very easily. The solder flows smoothly and the component settles into position without any resistance. For even smaller components, like this tiny resistor next to the chip, we can remove it just as easily. Using the bent tip allows us to lift these parts without relying on a hot air gun, which greatly reduces the risk of damaging the motherboard. This method keeps the heat focused only where we need it, making the process much safer and more controlled. Alright, let's clean the board first before we continue with the next test. Now I want to show you how the bent tip performs when doing micro jump wires. This will give you a clear idea of how well it handles fine control during wire installation. Let's drag a bit of solder across the pad to prepare the joint. For the jumper wire, we're using the copper strands from Soldering, the most convenient choice for any lazy repair tech. The strands are thin, flexible, and already tinned, which makes them perfect for quick micro jump wire work. Since the camera is positioned quite close, my working space is a bit limited. I'll do my best to show the process clearly, so thanks for your understanding. We'll solder 2 quick jumper wires just as a demonstration. As you can see, the result is solid and very easy to achieve. With enough working space, the bent tip lets us secure the wires firmly without any struggle. Even on the slightly larger pads along the edge of the motherboard, the bent tip handles the soldering with no effort at all. It gives us plenty of control and keeps the heat exactly where we need it. Let's clean the area and take a look at the result. Looks great! The wires are tight with no signs of movement at all. Alright, let's move on to the next soldering tip, the fine point tip. To be honest, I rarely use this one. It's mainly for jump wire work in very narrow spaces, and in most situations the bent tip already does the job just as well. We'll start by testing how this fine point tip performs for micro jump wires. As you can see, when using the fine point tip for jump wires, we often need to reheat the joint multiple times or hold the heat longer just to get the wire to sit firmly. Of course, we can add a bit more solder to increase the contact area, but once we do that, the fine point tip loses its advantage. The tip becomes larger, and at that point, we might as well switch back to the bent tip. Alright, we've basically seen how it performs. Let's solder a couple more points, clean the pads, and check the result. After that, we'll test how well this tip handles drag soldering. Let's check whether the jump wires we just soldered are holding firmly. No way. One of the wires didn't hold tight. Alright, never mind that. Let's move on to the next test and see how well this tip performs with drag soldering. As you can see, during drag soldering, the solder often sticks to the pads instead of following the fine point tip. That's mainly because the heated area on the tip is too small, so it doesn't transfer enough heat across the pad to pull the solder along. Because of that limited contact area, the solder doesn't flow smoothly, and the tip struggles to pull it across the pads. This is why the fine point tip isn't ideal for drag soldering, especially compared to the bent tip. Because of that limited contact area, the solder doesn't flow smoothly, and the tip struggles to pull it across the pads. This is why the fine point tip isn't ideal for drag soldering, especially compared to the bent tip. Alright, let's add a bit more flux and try dragging the solder again to see if the result improves. Let's clean the pads and take a look at the result. We can see that the pads still aren't very even though we really tried. Some of the solder points are even a bit lumpy and not smooth at all. I don't know what you guys think, but to me, this result just isn't ideal. I'm a perfectionist, so I want to try one more drag solder pass. It does look a little better, but honestly, this takes way too much time. Let's also test how well this tip handles removing and reinstalling a small capacitor. We can see that removing this small capacitor isn't a problem, but it does take some effort, and the only reason it comes off this easily is because we're already working with low melt solder. I can see the pad underneath is starting to lift. Because the temperature isn't high enough, the pulling force during soldering can easily damage or tear the pad. We can see that the performance when soldering this capacitor isn't very ideal. Oh no, the pad still ended up getting damaged in the end. Alright, let's clean this up and move on to the next test. At least now everyone can see how this tip actually performs. The fine point tip does have one useful application, dragging solder on connector pads. Because its heated area is so small, it tends to leave solder behind on the pads during heating. And that's exactly the effect we want when tinning pads for connector repairs. you can see that some pads are holding more solder than others. That's because those pads are ground pads, and they dissipate heat much faster. When that happens, don't panic. Just bring in the hot air gun at around 230 degrees to add a bit of extra heat to the board. That compensates for what the soldering iron can't provide. Alright, let's clean it up and see how it looks. Now let's test the last soldering iron tip, the knife tip. Let's drag solder the connector pads again using the knife tip and see how it performs. The knife tip can basically do the job just as well, but it's not ideal for beginners. As you can see, the tip is much larger and thicker, which makes it harder to control when working on phone motherboards, especially on something like an iPhone board. It's very easy to bump into nearby small components, and once that happens, you'll drag them right off because the tip is big and heats up extremely fast. We can see that the recovery time when tinning is really satisfying. The knife tip heats back up instantly. But when it comes to tinning these connector pads, the result still isn't ideal. Of course, we could adjust the temperature, but even then, the improvement wouldn't be significant. Alright, without wasting any time, let's clean this up and test how the knife tip performs when drag soldering the NAND pads. The knife tip is generally better suited for large joints or areas with a lot of surface to heat, which makes it a great choice for working on NAND chips. And if the tip is rounded enough and not too sharp, you can even use it to scrape off underfill. A lot of technicians actually use the knife tip directly to remove the underfill around NAND and CPU chips because its size and heat recovery make the process faster. As you can see, the underfill around the NAND comes off very easily. And because the knife tip holds heat so well, it keeps the removal process smooth and consistent. This is why many technicians prefer using it when dealing with large chips that have thick underfill. One thing to keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, the knife tip has a much larger heated area. That means it's very easy to bump into small components and damage them. So when you're working with this tip, make sure to stay alert and watch the surrounding components carefully. Let's clean it up and take a look at the result. I pressed a bit too hard just now, so the surface layer of the PCB got slightly scratched. This is another detail we need to pay attention to during repairs. Always control the amount of force you apply. And of course, the knife tip has one more very important use, pairing it with solder wick to clean pads. Because the tip is flat and its surface area matches the wick quite well, the pressure stays even across the wick, which makes it extremely effective for pulling solder off the pads. The flat surface keeps the wick fully in contact with the pads, so the solder gets absorbed quickly and evenly. This makes it one of the most efficient setups for clearing pads clean, especially when you're preparing a board for reballing or installing a new connector. Lastly, let's test another very practical advantage of the knife tip, cleaning the surrounding pads on AA boards. Using this tip can significantly improve efficiency, and it's also more cost-effective because it's much harder to damage. Compared to the bent tip or the fine point tip, which have very small contact areas and wear out easily, the knife tip holds up much better during heavy use. You can see that both drag soldering and cleaning the pads with wick are extremely easy with this tip, and the results come out very clean. The flat surface and strong heat retention really make the whole process smooth and efficient. Let's clean it up and see the result. Everything looks really clean, honestly. The finish is excellent. To wrap things up, I want to switch back to the bent tip and show you the result one more time. This way, you can clearly see why the bent tip isn't the ideal choice for this kind of work. When we're just tinning the pads, the bent tip doesn't show much of a problem. It still handles that part fairly well. But once we place the wick on top and try to drag solder through it, you can clearly see the results aren't ideal. Several pads still have solder left behind, and none of them are fully cleaned. Alright, that wraps up today's test. You've seen the tricks and the real-world scenarios between the knife tip and the bent tip, and why the knife tip performs so much better in certain repair situations. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.